everybody, and welcome to the Gauntlet, where we go over everything esports news. I'm your host, Captain Zeus, following co-host JT and Novaverse. This week, we got a lot of good matchups going on for the Overwatch League Week 3. We have New York against Philly, wondering which dominant team is going to come out on top. We have Boston versus Houston, which bottom team might be able to prove themselves worthy this week. Another big matchup is Paris-Washington. Which one of those are going to prove that they are worth the top 10 spot? So, Nova, what do you feel about Philly coming into this New York-Philly matchup? A lot of hype coming behind both teams here.
Yes, definitely. I feel Philadelphia should be very confident coming up into this matchup. Tying first place with New York, such an elite team, feels really good, and there should be a lot of confidence running through Philadelphia. And I feel very confident that when they come into this matchup, that they might even win it. So they should be really excited for this game. I'm excited. I don't know about y'all, but
I'm pretty awesome. I agree. This is going to look like a really good matchup. I don't think it's going to go 3-0 any which way. Maybe looking at a game 5, that's looking pretty good. JT, how confident are you feeling about this New York roster?
I think that's blood in the water. I think I smell some fear down there. He said might win.
Ooh.
Listen, I'm here to tell you there's no might about this situation. New York's the better team here. We get a better roster. We've proved it year in, year out. Philadelphia, you look pretty shaky against Washington. Just saying. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but New York's coming out on top. And I don't have any fear of saying that because I'm not scared of my prediction. So I'm just saying we got a better roster here.
I mean, I can always change my prediction, and Philadelphia will win against New York.
Ooh.
You like that?
Ooh.
But it took a pep talk. It took a pep talk from a New York fan.
No, it did not. You know what? Okay, talking about New York having a better roster. Sure, they got some good, recognizable players.
He says good.
But come on. Philadelphia is coming up into this matchup feeling fantastic. Carpe was popping off heads from last week. He's going to take that into this next game. The tanks are going to do phenomenal. Ivy backing up Carpe as well. I don't talk about supports that much, but I'm loving Boombox coming into this matchup.
That's pretty good.
It's going to look good for Philadelphia. And they will win against New York.
I mean, you say you don't talk a whole lot about supports. That's because you don't have anything to talk about.
Ooh.
When you got people like Jay Jonak wrecking kids, taking on DPS players by himself, you got something to talk about. When you got people...
I'll admit, New York has a better support lineup, but other than that, I think the tank and DPS roles, Philadelphia got that covered.
I'm saying you guys looking pretty even there.
So you think your tank line's better? You think Hot Bra and Mano is not better? You know, stay for it.
You think they're better than
I do.
Fury?
No, I think they've proven it.
What do you think?
No answers. A lot of questions, no answers here.
I'll give you an answer. The answer is yes. New York has a better tank line. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is Zeus. I gotta talk to you for a second. I know I'm talking with Nova, but I gotta talk to you for a second.
Little side talk, 1 second.
What a depressing day for me, and all New York fans, really. I have to encourage the other people to give us a match. What kind of world is it when you beat everyone so bad that they're like, oh, we might, and then I have to pump them up with a flat iron to get them to come out here and say, oh, we can win, as we beat them down with a mallet.
Yeah, but granted, on your first matchup with London did take a map off you, though.
Yeah,
you guys aren't looking as strong as you're saying.
And then we smacked them the rest of the time.
Not really. The second matchup went to overtime.
No.
See, and that's the thing. You guys played against London and Boston, first week?
Yes.
Those are like bottom, they're literally bottom team.
So was Washington. Everyone had them picked in the bottom 15.
That they were actually like mid-tier, even maybe like scraping top 10 team. Washington seemed pretty good.
Okay.
And then Florida showed they were not this last team from last season. So I think we versed against way better teams than New York. Okay. So, like,
I'm going to have to agree with him. Even though Washington went past everyone's expectations and not only took a map, but almost took two, similar to how it happened with London. Florida was looking a lot stronger too, and they still went against another strong middle tier, possibly top 10 team, or at least that top tier team. Whereas you guys only went against two bottom tier teams.
Okay.
I mean, is it just first week you guys got to get warmed up, or like what's going on? What's up with that?
So here's the problem I have with that statement. First off,
that is facts.
We have Houston, who is the worst team that Philadelphia played, and we have Washington that we had picked to be in the bottom three. Now, they might not be.
Philly went against Florida. They didn't go against Houston.
Yeah, they went against Washington.
Oh, I'm sorry. They went against Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my fault. I thought I must have got my scores mixed up there.
It's cool beans. It was a lot of people fighting.
Regardless,
people.
And Florida did not look as good as what they had looked previously. They went in, I think, underperforming for what their status is. Regardless, you have Houston that's a cupcake. I just don't see it.
I mean, you're saying Houston is a cupcake, which I agree. No offense, Zeus, but London and Boston,
yeah, they're cupcakes.
These past two seasons, they were both.
You went against two cupcakes. If we're going by what you said, you went against two cupcakes, and I went against one cupcake, I guess, and then Washington.
Yeah, but that's
pretty
not.
Decent.
But that's not our fault that we get. And
I'm not blaming you.
Whoa! We don't know about Washington yet. I'm still have question marks around San Francisco. I have that entire bracket. I have confusion about. I have confusion about a lot of those teams. Florida, Washington, all of them have a bunch of big question marks around because we don't really understand their level.
Well, San Francisco only played one game. That's why they're
that's
low in the
confusing.
There's a lot of good points that are coming out from both of you guys here. I'm just going to transition it to a different question. Otherwise, you guys will be going at this for another 20 minutes. With both of them undefeated coming into this matchup, a lot of good talent on both sides. Jay Jonak, Carpe, Ivy, Mano, a lot of looking pretty equal, if to be honest. Who do you think, I'll give this one to you, Nova, is going to take the throne from San Francisco of being that dominant team?
Is it gonna out of Philly and
out of Philly, New York?
Out of these two, well, I'm gonna have to root for Philly. Obviously, if they can beat New York, then that's just one step closer to going against San Francisco. And JT already agrees that San Francisco apparently is not the same team from last season winning the championship. Right. So if they're quote unquote weaker, and he believes New York is better than San Francisco, if we beat we beat New York, then that should be enough proof that hey, we can go up against them. So
okay, JT, same question.
Well, I'm worried. Obviously, it's New York, but the more interesting question for me is Philadelphia going to be a top 5 team? Right? So if they beat New York, they're obviously going to be in that conversation. They should definitely make that spot. I'm just not convinced right now that they are. I mean, they're top 10, but I have a really hard time with the Washington matchup. If they play really well against New York, I have no problem with it. But if they get blown out, that's a problem. That drops them way down for me. I just don't know enough about them. New York, you can kind of tell because they're the same every year. It's the same rosters.
Yeah, that's true. But New York really doesn't change it up, and yet for some reason they can't clutch it out in the playoffs or make it up to the top 3. They're always 4 or 5 by the end of the season. Maybe that is going to be different. Predictions on what we think the score is going to come out. JT, I'm going to start with you. How do you think this matchup's going to end?
I could see it being a 3-2, but I honestly think it's going to be a 3-1 New York.
Okay.
I think New York will take the first game. I think they'll lose the second game and then win out. I think that's what's going to happen. Or maybe lose the last game of the series for the sweep they'll lose that and then win the next. I think that's probably how it'll play out.
Okay. Nova, what do you think?
Yeah, I possibly see it going 3-2. Like JT said, I feel like New York coming into the matchup is going to feel more confident about themselves, and Philadelphia is going to have to play a little bit more confident booster. And then while they're playing a game more comfortable, Philadelphia will shine. So I think 3-2, Philadelphia is going to win. So.
Okay.
How about we talk about your match over there, Mr. Zeus? I've heard a lot of hype coming out for Houston. How about you talk about that, Mr. Top 10 Houston?
Oh, hey, how we doing?
I would just love to hear, the top 10 team Houston.
So, a lot of a couple of issues going into that previous weekend. We're not top 10 right now, but we're going against Boston, which, to be honest, Boston hasn't looked good since season 1, and I don't think they will. I don't know what's going on. They haven't really changed the main problem, whatever it is, but they're not being able to come out on top. Houston at least can get to the middle tier. They never really end at like the bottom 3 or 4. They're at least middle tier. I think that they can be middle tier this season. I think they have a lot of work to do. Like we talked about last week with Muma timing his shields. I think Ruckish should just switch to Zenyatta or Ana, someone he's really comfortable with. But I think this matchup, Houston's going to win, to be honest. And I think it'll be, I wouldn't say it'll be a sweep. I think it'll be like a 3-1.
Wait, 3-1 Houston's favor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nova.
No.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling I know what you're about to say.
Okay, so Boston, like you said, they're not the same team. They have been underperforming, but Houston has been underperforming as well. And coming up into the season, Boston has actually at least had the chance to play with a top 3, top 5 team, New York. And I feel with them being able to play against New York and then being able to go up against Houston, that should be a confidence booster for Boston. They should be able to go into this matchup, win it confidently, and keep on going the next couple of weeks. Because if you lose to New York and at least, be able to contest, I know they got swept, but at least be able to contest a little bit on some maps against New York, and then Houston only went up against, Florida and Washington? Florida, Washington, which we said Florida was a cupcake, and then Washington was a mid-tier.
They're both at least middle, maybe middle top tier teams. So they went against some good competition in comparison to. Granted, you guys went against a top team. It's hard to, you guys get swept, but at least we had some good competition where, yeah, we got 3-0'd, but at least with the Washington match, there was at least some kind of fight.
I'd rather go up against a top tier team, get my ass whooped, and then take in what I need to work on, rather than going up a team that's slightly better than me, and you're just kind of like.
But the thing is, you guys go against New York every opening weekend, and you guys lose 3-0 every opening weekend.
Well,
with so much experience of losing, you'd think you would at least take one.
Apparently, Boston cannot get it through their skulls how to freaking win. Apparently, but I still think they have more brain cells or something to go up against Houston. I still think Boston should be efficient enough to go up against Houston, because Houston is still underperforming. I don't know what's wrong with Houston.
So what's your prediction then on that map up, Nova?
I could still go 3-1. 3-1 Boston.
How do you think the match breakdown is going to be? Which game are they going to win?
I feel like Houston's just gonna get lucky on the game.
So like London did.
Yeah, like a random back cap or something, or
I don't know, Washington real quick.
Yeah, something's just gonna there's just gonna be a slip up, and then Houston's gonna win. But I don't know, maybe like in the middle, a middle game or whatever. Boston or Houston might win one, but I still think 3-1 Boston.
Okay, and Zeus, you asked me a very interesting question and then immediately just ran past it. You left a giant big question mark saying,
I like
we don't know what the issue of this team is. That's why they didn't fix it. What is that issue? They've been trying to fix this for how many years?
Well, I said I don't know the issue. I don't know what their issue is. I know there is a issue there that they got to fix.
What would your guess be?
Let's pull a Shanghai and just wipe the slate clean. Get rid of everyone, coaching, roster, the whole
You're ready to do that
shebang.
after 1 week?
After week 1, just,
Just
wipe it clean. Just
cut 'em
wipe it
loose.
clean. Like, we lost
You got it,
to
boys.
top 310, the top 3 team. We're done. We're done with all you. You're fired. Get out of here. Go home.
Go home.
That's it. But no, I think since there's a lot of changes coming into the Overwatch League, especially with there's the role queue last season, there's the team, the hero band coming in this season. There's a lot of changes, so I can't really blame the team's lack of consistency with such inconsistency. I think their main thing is probably teamwork and communication, to be honest. Because like I've seen Houston, there'd be times where they're just trying to just do that highlight reel play, and there's not too much teamwork, or they're trying to do a comp that's not really suited for their strong suits. I think that's the problem with Houston as well as Boston. That's something that they both got to kind of work on.
Now, Nova. Boston. Currently, everyone thinks they're probably bottom 3, bottom 4. Do you think that's true?
That might be like bottom 4. I don't know. They're not a great team, and honestly, I think they're not so great because of a lack of talent. I mean, whenever you look at the stats for the players, the only one that actually has like decent stats from last season was Colorhex, their DPS player. And other than that, there are other players.
I mean, Fusion was looking pretty promising. Fusions was coming in last season looking really promising. What happened with him?
I don't know. Performing or something, I don't know. The stats does not show that Fusion, Fusion's like, he's at least known, but like, come on, is he like known like a Jay Jonak, like a Carpe? That, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's a lack of talent, and then due to the lack of talent, communication is kind of faltering because of that. There's no go-to person to be like, hey, we need you on a nano boost this dude, or you know what I mean? So I think it's that, and that's probably why Boston's probably like, yeah, bottom 4 maybe. I still think they're better than Houston.
So you're saying they need to wipe the slate clean after week 1. That's what I'm hearing right now. Pull Shanghai, just everyone's gone. You're fired. Go home. Bye.
Well, I don't know. They need to do something. Yeah.
So,
a lot. Yeah.
I've got one more question for the both of you. Zeus, yours is a pretty easy one here.
Oh, I like easy.
Well, we'll see about that one.
And
I gave you a softball last week, and you put Houston in the top 10. Now,
I was
speaking
confident.
about that prediction, so last week you said top 7. You put them at 7, I believe.
Houston? Yeah, something like that.
I'm pretty sure you put them at 7.
Yeah.
Now this week you said cut the entire team. What? How does that?
Well, we're cutting Houston's team. With Houston,
What happened though? What's the big love swing?
ooh, they broke my heart into a million pieces. Oh my gosh, I got cheated on just now by Houston.
Oh, yeah?
Oh man, it was bad. Like right on my love sack, on top of my Dragon Ball cards and statues, and oh, it was sad, so sad. So that
I
was
didn't shed a single tear.
I
as they were
shed
getting
I shed
obliterated.
many tears. I shed
I
many tears.
enjoyed it.
I greatly
Okay,
enjoyed
so
your salty
all of
text.
y'all haters need to back off, take a couple of steps back, and just let me be. Let me cry in peace. Because oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing watching those matchups. And I was like so confident. I'm like, there's a lot. They had some good talent coming in with Hydrations, Blase, and Repel, and Jesse, and Meko. Like a lot of good team coming in together with previous talent with Ruckus, Muma, and Linkser. All great players. We coming in. I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Let's see some good matchups. At least win one game, you know? Didn't even take a map. Didn't even take a map. I was so embarrassed. I don't know what Movement was doing with that Reinhardt. Wasn't working. No one switched at all. And I talked about this in the last video. Halftime, Custa and Reinforce were saying they need to switch characters. They were at the point where they were using the same characters and they kept losing, but they didn't switch characters. And I was so confused. And I'm like, why? Why would you do this? There was just a lot of things that went wrong on there. And I think they have a lot of improvement to do, but they can definitely climb back and, be above everyone else. Definitely not top 10, but like middle tier.
Okay. Now, Nova, you haven't gotten to pick a match yet, something you're interested in. What match do you actually want to talk about? Because let's be honest, I don't want to talk about Houston anymore. They're the worst Texas team.
Yeah, that's right, JT. No, we don't need to talk about the Houston matchup anymore. A better matchup, actually, Paris versus Washington. That seems a little bit more pleasing. JT, what do you think is going to happen in this match?
Indeed. I believe this matchup's going to be amazing. Mainly because I've been saying Paris is not a top team for, 2 weeks now? 3 weeks now. This is the chance to prove it. Washington, don't let me down. Corey, keep popping heads because I need you to in case we are going to win this game. That's the way we're going to have to. Arc, Aim God, Roar, come on now. We need to play as a team. Stratus, come on. Come on, boy. We're going to need everyone to come together to prove this is not a top 10 team and to prove Washington is a top 10 team. Sorry, Zeus. Hate to break it to you. This is going to be a sweep. They're going to prove that you're not and that we are. Just saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't know this was opposite day. That was hilarious. Real quick, this is not going to be a sweep either way. I know that much. I think it'll go maybe game 5, at least a 3-2.
They could take a game. I'll give them one game.
I'm saying either way. I think this is going to be a close matchup, to be honest. Washington overperforming all of our expectations, and I like Washington. They got some good people on there. They got Corey and Aim God, yeah. Stratus is pretty good, but Roar, I don't know about that. He didn't really do much the last
Pick it on up, boys.
But Paris has got some spicy rosters, some spicy peoples on there. We got Ben Best, we got Nico, we got my boy, my boy Soon. My boy Soon gonna be popping more heads, gonna be shooting more Zarya things on the ult, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be crazy, absolutely crazy. But I know for a fact it's not gonna be no sweep match. For a fact. It's gonna be a good match, 100%, but no sweep.
Okay. What do you think instead?
I think Paris will win this 3-1.
3-1?
Yeah, 3-1.
3. Okay.
It has the potential to
I'm
get
going to give
intense.
you to the count of 5.
5.
To change your mind.
Okay, that was a really
No?
terrible countdown.
Hey, listen. Listen, son. It doesn't matter. Are you saying... Am I living in a world that you're saying that Corey... How are you going to stop him?
We have a better tank line, but we have plenty of shield
Really?
characters that we could just... Yes, dude. Roar is a terrible tank. What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about our tank line. I'm talking about your tank line.
I'm aware, and I'm saying our tank line is going to be a lot better. So if we get some shield characters up there, you can't pop none of our heads.
I don't believe that for a millisecond. What
about a second?
Corey has proven this time and time again that he's just wrecking everyone. It doesn't matter how good your tank line is because he's just going to kill your supports, and then you don't have any healing or any utility.
We'll get Soon on Tracer. He'll hunt you down, and he'll kill Corey. We'll have Soon v Tracer or Soon v.
We know that doesn't work though. We've seen it over and over and over.
Do we though?
Yes, we do. We've seen it the last 8 times they've played. Everyone's like, "We'll use a Widowmaker." Oh, that didn't work. We'll use a Tracer. Sombra. Nope, doesn't work.
I mean, it worked with Windows Carpe against.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
I just want to know your answer for Corey, and then we'll move on.
I told you my answer.
You don't have one. Okay,
I
next point.
told you my answer. I gave it to you 3 different
Next point.
answers.
Nope.
You
Next
know
point.
what? Whatever.
How are you going to deal with Arc? How are you going to deal with Aim God?
Okay, so JT, I'm going to ask you real quick. Do you think Washington is a top 10 team? I just want to. You think they are?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think Washington has to do to prove themselves that they're definitely, without a doubt, a top 10 team?
Well, they have to win this matchup for sure.
Okay.
Without a doubt, they have to win this matchup. They have to win it fairly convincingly. Even though I don't think Paris is a top 10 team, I think this would be a good test for them. And they might need to shore up a little bit of their tank line. I think their tank line played a little bit shaky last week.
Okay. And Zeus, so I'm guessing you're going to say that Paris is a top 10 team?
I think they are. I think they're bottom 10 right now, but I think they have the potential to stay up there and maybe even go higher, like number 6.
Okay, so what do you think they need to do to prove in this matchup that they're top 10 without a doubt?
We have to work on our teamwork for sure. Cannot have people just going out doing their own thing, especially with Corey, who's going to be popping our heads if we do so. We have to stay as a unit, do things as a unit, keep our communication work up, and I think we could be able to make this a pretty dominant one.
Okay. The way you made it sound, no offense, but you made it sound like it was an uphill battle. Like,
I mean, it's because it's hard. I didn't expect him to be this good. I didn't expect him to be this good, which, I mean, that's great for Washington, obviously. I mean, they have good people on there. It's tough. I don't think it'll be a sweep at all. Like I said, at minimum a 3-1, no matter which side. But I think Paris could win this.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. You say it's a 3-1 either side?
Yeah, if Washington, that's a big if, wins this. Depends on how close the matches are.
You're like a shaman. You're like, I think in the future I smell herbs. Oh, I think it's going to be a really, really close match for either team. 3-1.
Okay, but look at the Philly one. The Philly one was a 3-1, but each of those matches went to the distance.
This is like the craziest argument I've ever heard in my life. Are you kidding me?
I am making it.
It's a close match. 3-1.
I said at minimum, though. I said at minimum. It's not going to be a sweep.
I think it could be a sweep.
I
just don't think they have any answers.
Washington doesn't have any answers either. All you're saying is Corey this, Corey that. They don't have any answers for anything else.
Aim God.
What's he going to do? What are they going to do?
Aim God just going to shore up the backside.
He's not going to get past our tank line. He's not going to be trying to go around, especially if we have Soon on the field. What you talking about?
He's the flex support. He doesn't have to.
So what is he going to do?
He's going to protect Corey, who's going to kill your team. Same with Mark.
If we stay together and we work as a unit, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
Okay.
I think Washington could be a top 5 team. I think they could make the argument to take a Philadelphia spot if they could shore up the teamwork issues at the end of games, trying to make hero plays. They can't do that if they want to be a top 5 team.
Okay. I don't see them being a top 5 team, though.
I said they could.
I know. I'm aware that's what you said. I just can't see them being a top 10. Yeah, I could see it.
You said Houston was a top 10 team, so okay. I don't know if I trust your eyesight.
Hey, look. I was really excited for Houston. Okay, we already had this discussion. I was extremely excited for them. There's a lot of talent, a lot of spice coming in there. And they broke my heart faster than I could expect.
Okay, so ready for Paris to do the same.
They will not.
Shattered glass.
They will not. Hey, we do have the same record as Washington, so
it's like hitting a deer and it collapsing your windshield. It's about to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Why was that analogy in your head?
Because roar. I don't know.
Hey, I do want to bring up one more thing. This is going towards Zeus. So we did have Paris going against London, and we already clarified that London it's a very low bottom team right now, not the same team.
Mm-hmm.
But we did have Washington go against Philly, and then went up against
Houston.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Paris will be prepared to go up against Washington? I don't know if they did. Paris play anyone else besides London?
They played Toronto, which Toronto was surprisingly good as well. I think ever since that surprise matchup, especially since they've had a week, to kind of watch how the other teams are playing, they've had time to kind of record, study the game footage, and be able to combat them in ways that I'm sure we'll find out this weekend. But I think they're going to be prepared. Okay. I don't think that they'll be caught off guard by anything.
All right, that's all I want to ask for you.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. But Speaking of these past weeks, we've seen the same teams playing for these first 3 weeks of the Overwatch League. How are we expecting the teams that we haven't seen yet to be playing? Like Atlanta, Seoul, all the Chinese teams. How are we expecting them to play out, especially with such surprising wins and surprising losses? Nova, I'll give this one to you.
I mean, they had time to obviously watch and analyze these teams that have been playing. I wouldn't be surprised if they do kind of like a mirror with these upcoming teams whenever they start back playing. So a lot of what we've been seeing lately now is still double barrier, typically with Reinhardt and Arisa, and then typically Morris, still your healer, stuff like that. And then for DPS, we've been seeing a lot of May and McCree. So I still think that these teams that haven't been able to play and being able to watch these teams playing competitively know what route they're doing, and I feel like they're going to mirror it. I don't think there's going to be any too much of a change up or a spice, but yeah, I think it's just going to be a mirror play.
Okay. JT, same question. What do you think, man?
I think we're going to see a bunch of more of the same until hero bans come in. I think the team comps aren't going to change all that much. Now, I have heard some rumors that Mr. 76 might be joining us soon. That would be fun to see. But I think we're just kind of stuck right now until hero bans. I think everyone's kind of testing stuff. You've been seeing them in different matches, testing like Sombras and things you don't see all that often. Pharahs, May. Well, I mean, May is kind of a main stud now. But
now. It wasn't last season.
For this season, it's kind of been a mainstay. But I think those are the test people. They're throwing out games they're confident in winning already, and they're just seeing how it works to prepare for hero bans. So I think we're going to see the same until hero bans.
Yeah, I agree. Chengdu last season, they surprised people with their comps. I think they're going to surprise people with their comps again this season. Seoul, Shanghai, they're both, and Hangzhou, they're all looking like top 10 teams. So it's going to be interesting how their matchups are going to be. But it's going to be weird until the hero ban pops up. Because I've seen a lot of mirroring, too much mirroring, to be honest. I was never a big fan of the mirrors. I'm like, if someone has a comp, don't try to do the exact same thing. That makes it kind of boring. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of see until the hero ban pops up.
At least some teams, they will switch it up. Maybe like a different tank sometimes or a different DPS. But yeah, I don't know. With these competitive teams, they try to do what's hot, what they think is best performing wise. A lot of things change sometimes.
Those are some great answers there, Mr. Nova. But Zeus, I have a different question for you.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's a very soul-driven question. It's going to hit you at the core. Because I know you really like type teams. But what team do you think going into this weekend is way overhyped?
That is
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. But actually, I kind of want Nova to answer this question.
Okay.
First.
That's
okay. We'll let him process it.
I saw
the good old games for grinding. You gotta let it go.
Honestly, I feel like Washington is getting overhyped. I mean, we're really hyping them up because they just did better than last season. I mean, this is what we should have expected from them. Like, I know they did terrible last season, but come on, if you're going to be in a competitive standpoint, a competitive league, you need to be performing on a certain level, a certain tier. And now that they're performing at that level now, I mean, we shouldn't be hyping them up for that. It should be like, about damn time. You know what I mean? So Washington, I think they're just getting hyped up a little bit too much. It's about, come on, right now. Thank you. Thank you, Washington.
Okay. I've lost all faith in humanity. I apologize. Nova, please lose my phone number. That was just uncalled for. And
You're really not going to like my response.
just talk.
I think New York's coming in overhyped. Sure, they're undefeated. And yes, they've beaten 2 bottom tier teams. And they're going against Philly, which that'll be a good matchup. But from last season and then this season, they always look promising at the start. And then they just kind of can't clutch it out when it comes to the playoffs. And then they start losing games halfway, and it just kind of goes all downhill from there. But then they try to come back, and nothing really ever happens. I mean, they have not won any season playoffs, haven't even gone to the finals. I think, not to say they're not a great team, they're a pretty good team. They got a great roster. I just think they're a little bit overhyped. That's it.
I feel personally attacked here. I'm just saying that openly because apparently I have no friends in this group, so I can't let either of them go first. I'm looking both ways. I need both hands. Too much shade in my face.
It's your fault. You hyped them up too much.
It's because they're good. Unlike my prediction, which is Paris. Overhyped, put in the top 10. Are you? No. I'm sorry.
They were over. I can agree them being overhyped last season, but not this season.
I cut you off once, only once. You cut me off once. We're fair. Even Stevens.
So I backed off. Lemon squeezy.
It's their roster. Come on. They've got like soon. That's it. That's all anyone ever talks about.
Beth.
No.
Nico.
I disagree with everything.
Crew.
Just keep going through. Next.
I could say everyone else I don't want to.
Okay.
I just think they're overhyped. I don't think they're a top 10 team. Maybe like a 12th ranked, but not a top 10.
But I don't think they're really that hyped. Last season, they were really hyped up, and they kind of was proving it at the beginning, and then they kind of they pulled to New York and just kind of went,
You're right. I might be completely skewed because I talk to you so much, and that's like the only team you ever want to talk about.
I love my Frenchies.
I think, you know what? Take it back. 2 teams for me.
Okay.
LA Valiant and Paris, both overhyped. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Okay. You know what? Every team JT has on his little list of teams he likes, all overhyped. Just saying.
I agree. But they're overhyped because they win.
Squeeze me? Do they? But do they, though?
Okay. I have a question. To stop this little bickering right here.
Let's ask the question.
All right, we're gonna toss to the Zeus real quick.
That's me.
So, with the hero ban coming closer and closer each week, which category of heroes do you think will be affected the most for the play?
I'm gonna think the Tankline.
Okay.
I think they are going to be affected. It's kind of tough because the DPS, they're really kind of pushing more DPS mained comps. The supports, I don't really see them touching the supports. I see the tanks really being the ones that'll be affected the most. I mean, they've been nerfing them like crazy these past couple of updates anyways. So it's like they don't even want tanks in the game, that seems. And I love playing tanks. That hurts me. I'm not a Bastion main, by the way. Just letting everyone know. I'm not a Bastion main.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure that was out there.
I think you're a closet Bastion main.
I'm not a closet Bastion main.
Closet Bastion main.
You're so ashamed you have to make sure, hey, everyone, make sure I'm not a Bastion.
I need this to be on my permanent record, not a Bastion main, okay? Just saying.
All right, what about you, JT?
Tanklines. Well, Reinhardt. When he's gone, poof.
That's it.
Every team looks completely different. I don't know what the scape looks like without a Reinhardt because he's played every game forever and always, pretty much. So, yeah, tanks.
All right.
Good Lord.
Okay, I'm gonna take a different approach. I think supports that's gonna affect them the most, because honestly, I feel like the support characters, they have a little bit more variation with them, and honestly, if you take one of them away, I think it kind of hurts them more, rather than DPS, because DPS and tank, because DPS, there's such a wide variety of DPS characters that if you would take away 2, honestly, you could put 2 right back in to
that's all they ever put in
fix
as
back
DPS.
up. You know what I mean? And then for tanks, I mean, if they take off Reinhardt, there's always Sigma. I mean, if you still want to do double barrier. If they take away Zarya, that might be a little oof. But you know, there's still dive. There's other metas without Zarya. But I think support's gonna hurt the most. I know, like, if they take away Mora, who she's been like a really dominant healer, that's gonna hurt them. She gets her ult really fast. I know that she's really reliable with that. Lucio, that's probably gonna hurt with his speed boost and all around healing. Especially when he wants to help like Reinhardt out and all that, help his team get back on point and everything like that. Yeah, I think support the characters that they are. Mercy with her res. I mean, I know a lot of competitive players like to do that, but yeah, I think it's the support's gonna get oofed.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one because they've been nerfing the tanks like crazy, especially the shielded ones like crazy. I don't know. I mean, the supports, if you take one out, you still have someone to combat it. Like, you still have Zenyatta, you still have Lucio, you still have Ana, you still have even Brigitte. Like, with the tanks, all the main ones that's played are, like, Winston, Ryan, Orisa, and Sigma. No one really plays them that much because they've nerfed them so much. No one ever wants to play them.
Orisa, they do.
Yeah. They play Orisa at least.
If they ban, so let me put you in a world so you can understand the point. If they ban Reinhardt and Orisa, like, shield meta is dead, and that takes out supports, that takes out a couple of DPS. You just can't play them because they're just gonna die. And people like Widowmaker can be super powerful because she can just get those head pops. So that's the world we're gonna live in.
So it's just gonna be snipers only,
or die.
Overwatch. Yeah, snipers only. Yeah, snipers only.
Well, I mean, they're only taking out one tank a week. So it's gonna be one tank, 2 DPS, and 1 support. But honestly, you said they nerfed. They did it hurt the tanks a lot, but they hurt the supports just as well. Like, we just talked about Brigitte and her armor pack and her healing just got destroyed. I mean, Zenyatta's healing is off. Like, it's piss poor. He's a damage support, to be honest. He does not heal that well.
What are they doing to this game?
I mean, Lucio, his healing's decent. It's not a like a main heal, like that's our go-to healer. It's just like a little help me a little bit kind of heals. Mercy, she's all right, but like healers that just have to focus on one person at a time, like Mercy and Zenyatta, those are the ones that struggle. And honestly, I don't know, support characters have been oof just like tanks. So what we're saying is snipers only Overwatch. Makes sense. I'm 100% down. And that's going to wrap it up for this here.
And McCree.
And McCree. We got Widowmaker, McCree, Ana. That's it.
I'm always high noon, ladies and gentlemen.
Always. And Ash. You know, we'll spice up, put some Ash in there. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I'm Captain Zeus, followed by JT and Novaburst, and we will catch you guys later.